As a charismatic pastor, I'm absolutely grieved by the stuff I'm seeing from Shawn Bolz. He's been spiritually abusing people by data mining and then using that data to give fake prophetic words and words of knowledges in conferences all across the United States. Since this stuff has come out, I've seen so many Christians deconstruct their faith, completely tear their faith apart because they put so much trust and faith in both him and other leaders who maybe didn't bring this stuff to the surface as quickly as they should have. But I want to encourage you with something that happened in the Bible. The Apostle Paul wrote the books of 1st and 2nd Corinthians, and when he wrote to the church of Corinth, they were writing to him saying, we need help. There's people using their spiritual gifts and they're abusing it and they're wielding it over each other. They're flaunting it and they're using it in abusive ways. It's not building up of the church. And largely the whole book of 1st Corinthians has so much to do with how we are supposed to use our spiritual gifts. Now you might be watching this and you might be like, I don't believe in the gifts of the Spirit. And you might be saying that because you've seen people like Shawn Bolz abusing people with their spiritual gifts. But what Paul tells us in 1 Corinthians 12, 13, and 14 is that he doesn't say, hey, just because someone spiritually abused these gifts, they're not real, don't do them, don't practice them. It's actually the exact opposite. He says, you will know people by their fruit. Do they have faith? Do they have love? Do they build up the church? Or is this about them? And this is what Paul says in 1 Corinthians chapter 14. He says, pursue love and earnestly desire the spiritual gifts, especially that you might prophesy. And so to me, when I read my Bible, I'm reminded there's going to be wolves in sheep's clothes. There's going to be false prophets that rise up among other people that are prophesying. And so I want this to encourage you. Don't deconstruct your faith. Don't put your faith on people. The reality is that no planes that land safely actually hit the news. It's all the ones that crash. And for every plane that crashes, there's thousands of others that have landed safely. And so if you're thinking about deconstructing your faith, I want to remind you, there are so many good pastors out there who would never do what Shawn did. There's so many people using the gifts of the Spirit to build up the church, to build faith. The last thing we should do when we see things like Shawn is say, oh, we should have no part in any of that. What we need to do is we need to increase our accountability. We need to increase our transparency. And when someone gets it wrong, we need to bring correction quickly. The thing is that man will always fail you, but Jesus will never fail you. Henry Nouwen once said this: there might be times where the church might get in the way of God, but the church will never stop being the way to God. There's so many churches in the United States that are really good churches that build up faith, that use the gifts of the Spirit well. But don't let these situations cause you to deconstruct your faith. Allow them to reinforce your faith, to go, oh, that was a lie. That was destruction. That was killing, stealing, and destroying. That was the way of the dragon, not the way of the Lamb.